Hey everyone, welcome to the Electric SuperCar channel. This week we're going to get the front motor mount made. Let's get to it. So for some of you who are new to the channel, this car here, it's going to get dual motors. That's right, all-wheel drive. So we really don't know if this can work, but I have mocked it up and you can see the motor is right there. So it does kind of fit. We do have to rotate it a little bit from where Tesla has it. But this time what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some measurements, see if we can fabricate some motor mounts for the front motor. Like most things, I start with the whiteboard, get some dimensions and a concept. So I started with a plate, cut out the desired shape. Because this was being laser cut, I decided to add a few extra slots to lighten the overall weight. I took the scan model of the front drive unit, made a new adapter plate, and then added the motor mounts with supporting brackets. This should all fit around the frame rail and be bolted in. So I did a lot of measuring and modeling, and I've come up with a design, and I used one of my favorite sponsors, Send Cut Send. Found my first error. Did not make these holes quite big enough for the bolts. Now, if that is the worst thing that I did, we're looking really good. But I'm just gonna go ahead and open these up with an appropriate drill bit. Adventure number 2, these holes, they're the right size, but when I put it on, I'm gonna say it was like 5 thou or 10 thou just off, meaning the spacing between them were either narrow or long. So meaning I could put screws in, I could tighten them a little bit, but as I tightened them more, it seemed like it wedged before it got all the way to the surface. So I'm gonna open them up just ever so slightly. All right in there, you can see the new plate that I made. So it mounts very well to the motor, and up there will be where I attach the motor mount. Down there you can kind of see that side. So I do need some shorter bolts. It's one of the reasons I could not use the original bracket is it extended way too wide in that direction. So I'm gonna have to get some shorter bolts. The other thing I'm gonna have to do is I think I've got everything dialed in. I now need to take this off, the motor off, get things in place, do some welding, and then see if everything works according to plan. The motor is out, and now it's time to focus on some welding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of tack weld just a few pieces, make sure the fit is good, and then we'll go ahead and fully weld it up. By the way, I am slowly learning. I have moved my car out so I don't get any sparks on that. We're far enough away from the whiteboard. I think we should be good. A couple things I need. I do need a welding table. This is my makeshift welding table. I did end up getting some of these square magnets to kind of keep things in place. I also got an adjustable one. So we'll kind of put these to use. I'll let you know how they work. I did get material for both the rear mount that I made out of carbon fiber as well as the front mount. So I think I'm going to start with the rear mount because I already have a mount and it'll help me get my welding skills back. So I tacked the one side. I think this plate here got a little warped in shipping. Because the other one's just a flat plate. This is a flat plate, but they don't match up. So I'm just gonna have to squeeze the other side a little bit, tack that in place. So I did end up putting notch elements into the design so that they can line up with where they need to line up. So I'm sure that the position is correct. I'm just gonna go check it in the vehicle. There it is in place, all the holes lined up. So I think we're good to do a full weld. I'll probably just tack the other pieces in place first. We're gonna do a quick test fit while things are still tacked in place, make sure things fit. Ooh. I'll let you guys see, but there it is. Got clearance all around. Let's see, what does it look like under here? It's getting really close fit everywhere. I think we did good. I'll finish tacking things in place and do full welds. I'm not good at welding, but I think that looks okay for me. Okay, I think we've had a setback. I was letting this cool down, flipped it over while I was waiting, watching some sports. It's kind of sitting right about here, and there's a really loud pop. So the circuit breaker for the entire garage went off, and anyway, flipped it back on. This guy is no longer working. So I don't know, it's got like, when you turn on, there's red light in the back, but the display on the front's not there. So I'm hoping it's just something like a fuse, but it might be a motherboard or who knows. Yeah, that's gonna be costly and set things back. So down there, I've got one of the bushings. I need to press out the center, what do you want to call it, so I can get the rubber out. So when I want to weld it, I don't want to kind of melt the rubber and things like that. So I'm trying to press the metal center out so I can get the rubber bushing off. Not too bad. So going for number 2. And number 2's out. And I think we can get the rubber bushings off. And the other end comes out a lot easier. So I wanted to get this off so I could weld it without kind of deforming the rubber. One way I keep myself safe while I'm working on these electric cars is through today's sponsor, Surfshark. Now, Surfshark is an online VPN, and one of the ways they keep you safe is by encrypting all your online data. This means your personal data is protected from big companies and cyber criminals. This includes when you're using public Wi-Fi. Surfshark has over 3,000 servers in over 100 countries. By far, one of my favorite features is their VPN can virtually change your location. This can help you access TV shows and films that may be restricted in your location. So if you're traveling and you're in the United Kingdom and you want to see the shows that are in the US, all you have to do is click and change your location to the US. For me, I think one of the more important features is the safety, encrypting all your data. A long time ago, about 10 years ago, I was a victim of identity theft. Something like Surfshark would really help guard your data as everything is encrypted. Now is one of the best times to join, as you can use my coupon code, ElectricSuperCar. This will give you 6 months free access. This is part of Surfshark's special Black Friday deal. And it has a 30-day money-back guarantee. We are back in action. So it took about 2 or 3 days. This welder I bought about 2.5 years ago, and it happens that it had a 3-year warranty. So I sent it in and they sent me a new unit back. I'm gonna finish up this rear motor mount real quick. All right, I think I'm getting better. Oh, those look better? So this is the problem with me in welding, is I feel like I weld so infrequently that by the time I'm done with one project, I feel like I'm pretty good, and then I'll wait like 6 months or a year before I weld again, and then it's kind of not the greatest. So I'm getting back to proficient, but that means I'm probably about done with this project. All right, so right here, you can see that's that reflection. That's where the laser either stopped or started, and so there's just a little bit of a burr there. It's making it not sit flat. All right, that's the first part of that bracket that is just tacked in place. We're gonna go ahead and put it in the car and get the second part tacked in place. So this one is in place. I'm probably gonna tighten it down just to get rid of any wobbles, but I'll put the other one in place, and I may actually tack it in place while it's here in the car, just so I get the exact right spacing. So I think there's some of this seam sealer on top that I'm gonna scrape off, just so we can make sure everything's nice and flat, symmetrical. So I was cleaning off the seam sealer, which kind of started about here. And I kept cleaning, and underneath the seam sealer, there's an actual bolt hole. I'm gonna actually utilize that. I'm gonna drill a new hole in my steel, help distribute the load a little bit more. So this was the seam sealer. And again, as I peeled it off, you can see they were covering up that hole. Looks like even like, I'll call it some aluminum foil or something was on it. All right, so those were the two holes. And now I've got a third right there. Measured and drilled, and boom, it's perfect. So you're just tacked in place, 2 places there. We're tacked in place on that other one that's going across the top of the frame rail, 2 places there. So again, this should be tacked. We've got some other pieces for the motor mounts and things we need to tack in place as well. And then we'll see if we can fit the motor with its new plate. And then if everything looks good, we'll do full welds. The only thing that's giving me a little pause is things are not parallel or perpendicular. They're not kind of straight up and down. And I'm trying to decide if that bothers me or if that's okay. But this one, I was imagining would be straight up and down, and it's kind of at an angle. I don't know if you can see that, but so the top is kind of pitched forward, this one's pitched back. So it's not a big deal. I guess in CAD I had it straight up and down, and I'm thinking that the kind of rails and other things on the car are not true parallel or perpendicular. They're probably tapered in or tapered out. So I'm just trying to figure out if that's gonna be a big deal or not. I looked back at my CAD, and I believe this plate here I've got backwards. So there's a short side and a long side, and it looks like the long side should go there, and that should keep this one, like it should kick it out a little more flat. So good thing I only tacked it. I'm gonna kind of cut those tack welds, reposition, and weld again. This is looking better, a little more vertical. So again, this plate, it's not quite symmetrical. So if you flip it like this, it's either further in or further out. So we got it now the right direction, so we'll go ahead and tack weld this one more time. All right, I do not profess to be a welder, but I play one on YouTube. So after this, I've got more steel that kind of goes from here to here, kind of help triangulate everything. This one, because the frame rail was not truly square, I'm gonna have to cut the piece that goes here so it can fit, and then weld the rest. All right, I thought I was nearing the end. Everything was looking pretty good. Got a lot of my welds ground down where I need them to be flush and everything, and I thought, okay, I think we're there. And then I saw we've got some major warpage. So I welded on I'll call those the collars, and it was flat on the table, and I did a weld around the bottom, and I thought everything was flat, and it probably was, but as I welded around the top and things, I think things shrunk in, and now it's kind of bowed up. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's bowed up kind of on both sides. And so that means the pins, instead of kind of coming straight out, they're going to be pitched in. So that's not going to work. What that means is I'm going to try to salvage. So what that means is I'll try and cut all that off. I've got an extra set of these that I can weld in if I'm able to cut everything off. All right, so I was able to grind out essentially where these were, call them the bushing housings. I was able to grind those out, and so now they are in the proper location again. Again, got a real tight clearance, so we should be good to weld. This time I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this plate here with the bolts here to make sure everything stays true. Once everything was tacked in place, I kept the bolts in place and then did full welds. All right, here it is all welded up. I think it looks pretty good. I kept the plate in place to make sure the motor mount stayed true. You can see they caught fire and they're actually not too bad. I will likely use new ones. I still need to face off right around the bushing face to make sure the rubber can sit flat. I also took this time to clean up the surface of the parts to make sure any contaminants and things were removed from the surface. So here's the rear motor mount all finished up. I think it looks pretty good. So this one's all welded up, ready for paint or something to protect it from the elements. Here's the front motor mount. I ground down the surfaces, made sure it's ready to accept the rubber bushings. I also kind of lightly went over the whole thing with a flap disc. Here you can see the other side. Again, all welded up. Here are some of the sacrificial pieces, some of the sleeves we had to cut up, the rubber motor mount that got burned. Could probably reuse it, but yeah, I'm not gonna chance it. And here is one of the heroes of the day, my beefy bench vise, along with my welding table. I really do need to invest in a bench vise and a welding table. If this video gets over 30,000 views, I will buy a bench vise. All right, we've got steel and the carbon fiber. I've also got the scale. In theory, for the same thickness, you get about the same strength, but about 1/5 the weight. 25.2 pounds. Yeah, this one doesn't even register. I gotta get another scale. So you probably can't read it, but that's 3.3 pounds. If I do end up using this, people suggested some ribs in between or even putting sheets on the bottom, which all is pretty easy to do for a little extra strength and not very much weight. Time to take it over to the press. Just like that. All right, there it is in place. I don't have these really tightened down, but just kind of loose, make sure that everything fits. But that's the whole thought, is that get one motor mount there, the other one up there. The whole motor is gonna sit here, and we got bolts from on top, underneath, fits right on the frame rail. So I think that's looking pretty good. Seems like maybe I should have checked this one first. So just like that, we are done. That looks beautiful. So again, we already tested it, even after all the welds, tested the fit to the frame rail, and that fits great. Bolt holes still line up. Call it the adapter plate to the motor. Again, that one fits well. And then the motor mounts, the bushings, so thrilled. That is gonna be awesome. And again, this is the heavy side. So again, we're mounting, we could probably put it all in place just like this. So, because that's the motor and all the heavy stuff. Over here is just little electronics and things. So I still need to fabricate things over here, but this is done. This is the hard part. I'm really pleased. Well, we made a lot of progress this week. We made a front motor mount. We actually remade the rear motor mount. If you need to catch up on build episodes, I'll leave a link right up here to the build playlist. That'll do it for this time. See you next time. We've got a lot more comment. Vin. Why can't I just say it?